everyone, this is Aisha and welcome to our 38th Kotlin tutorial. And in this tutorial, I'll be talking about the break statement in Kotlin programming language. So this break statement is actually used to break through a loop on the basis of some condition. So we use the if check, and if the condition becomes true, then we use the break statement, and break statement will transfer the control outside the loop. So here you can see that we have a for loop. Inside the for loop we have a condition, we have a check condition. If this condition becomes true, the control is transferred into the body of the if statement, and inside we have this break statement which will break the control, and the control will be transferred outside the for loop. Similarly, inside the while loop we have a condition. If this condition becomes true, break is executed and the control will be transferred outside the while loop. Similarly, we have do while loop. Inside do while loop we have if, and inside if we have break, and if the condition is true, then the loop will be broken. So now let's create a simple example. Here I have a for loop. The item, the keyword in, and then I'm going to create a range 1 to 10, and then the body of the for loop. So inside the body of the for loop I'm going to create a condition. When I becomes equal to 4, then what you should do, you should break the loop. So at first iteration I equals 1, so this condition is false, break will not be executed. At second iteration I equals 2, so this condition is again false, so break is not executed. When I becomes equal to 4, this condition becomes true and the break is executed and the control will be transferred outside the loop. So let's use the print line function, and here I'm going to print the value of I, and you will see that when in first iteration I equals 1, 1 is printed. Second iteration I equals 2, 2 is printed. Third iteration I equals 3, 3 is printed. And then at the fourth iteration I equals 4, so I equals 4, this condition is true, the loop will be broken because of this break statement. Now let's run this program, and you can see here 1, then we have 2, then we have 3. So this is because we have used this break statement. Our range was 1 to 10, so the starting point was 1 and the ending point was 10, so the range contains 10 elements, but we have used this break statement which breaks through the loop. Now let's create a simple example which will print the sum of elements that will be entered by the user, and when user enters 0, the execution of our loop will be stopped. So for this purpose I'm going to use the for while loop, and first of all I need to create a variable sum which will store the sum of elements entered by the user. So I'm going to initialize it to 0. Then I'm going to have another variable n which will be the loop variable of integer type, and it equals 1, and then while loop. Inside the condition there will be no condition, so I'm going to write true, and then inside the body of the while loop I will print enter a number. So now I'm going to use the readline function to read that integer from the output stream. So n equals readline and double exclamation mark. So now this readline function reads strings from the output screen. So now I have to convert this string entered by the user to integer. So I will use this dot separator and then to int method. Now the user has entered. If the user enters 0, we will say that you should break through the while loop, and then after this I'm going to sum equals n, and then after that I will print sum equals dollar symbol and then sum. Now what we did here, first of all we have a variable sum, which is initialized at 0. Then we have another variable n whose value will be entered by the user. So here I'm not going to initialize it. Okay, now the values of n will be provided by the user in each iteration. So we are using the while loop. So when we are using the while loop, the user enters a number. So this number will be stored in n, and when the user enters 0, we will have the break statement, and this break statement will break through the loop and we will have our sum printed on the output screen. Now let's run this program and enter a number 2, again enter a number 3, again enter a number 4, and when I enter 0, this condition becomes true and the loop will be broken. So if I enter 0, you can see the loop is broken, we are outside the loop, the sum is calculated and then sum is printed. So this is how you can use the break statements in Kotlin programming language. So thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.